What's going on, guys? JPB Duel here. Hope you guys are enjoying your Thursday. And for today's matchup, I'm bringing you a PrankKids versus a SwordSoul, with my opponent playing SwordSoul going first. Now, every time I do play against SwordSoul, they always start with their Longyan, and they go into Baron de Fleur, which puts the Omni on the field, and it sucks for me. And once he does this, it got me thinking, can I make him waste the Baron's Omni right now this turn? And thankfully I could, because this guy normaled out the Ecclesia to go into his Moye combo. So right here, the Ash Blossom could be really good or really bad. Now in case my opponent had a crossout designator in his hand, this Ash Blossom would be really bad. But in case he did not have it, he would have had to use his Baron's Omni to negate the Ash Blossom. That way, I would have one less thing to worry about on my next turn, in case I do not draw into my copy of Kaiju. So he does just that, negates out the Ash, goes into his combo afterwards. So now I'm thinking, the best board he could end up on will probably be a Grandmaster plus the Baron de Fleur, and with the Grandmaster he will search for the SwordSoul Blackout, put it in his back row. But I could easily play through the SwordSoul Blackout because I have the right, so I could bait out the SwordSoul Blackout that way. But sadly, this guy does play a copy of SwordSoul Summit, which is their combo extension, and he searches for the SwordSoul Summit off of the Grandmaster. And if you guys realized, the card he sent to the graveyard with the Longyan was the Taya. So he puts the Taya on the field, does the combo extension sadly. The card he puts on the field with that is the Dragite. Now Dragite is a spell trap negate as a quick effect as long as you have a water monster in the graveyard. So no Raigeki, no Harpies cannot do any of that. And the one card I draw into that could help me out that is my Call by the Grave. So Call by the Grave really good at this point, because as long as I Call by the Grave the water monster in my opponent's graveyard, which he only had one of, this card's negate on the spell trap goes away. So first of all, I decided to try to bait it out with my right. He does not take the bait, so now I have to Call by the Grave the water monster and try to bait out the Dragite's effect. Successfully happens. That way, now I have full combo. Even if my opponent uses the Grandmaster's negate on my Doodle-Doo, it does not matter to us, because we have a copy of Pranks in our hand. As long as you start with a copy of Pranks or Panda in your hand, your opponent negating your Doodle-Doo does not matter, because you can always use your fancies to send the other card to the graveyard, go into your second copy of Doodle-Doo and fish it back out, put it in your hand, go into your Bow Wow, do the full combo afterwards anyways. So I'm chain blocking with my stuff with my Adventures engine, put the Griffin on the field, and Draco back attached to the token. So with this, I have one bounce that I can utilize. Now sadly, I could not OTK my opponent this turn because I was pretty sure my opponent did have an Ash Blossom in his hand. So that's the reason why I put the Adventures token in defense. If I had a way to OTK my opponent by going into my Access Code combo and have enough to kill my opponent this turn. But you guys will see, we do get one negate graveyard activation, which was Ashable, and he does just that. So I have to use my Griffin to negate that so that I can go into my combo. So I do just that, negate that, and then put a copy of Roxy's on the field. With this, I'm going to activate my second copy of Doodle-Doo, pull the Panda, add it to my hand. This way, I still have my full Butler combo. As I said before, the negate on the first Doodle-Doo does not matter. So we're doing just that. With this, if I draw into, let's say, a copy of Instant Fusion, I still win the game. Sadly, I do not. I draw into a copy of Nibiru. Now, right here, let me pause right here. Did you guys see what card I chose to bounce with my Draco back? All three cards are good cards for the Draco back target. Let me explain why. Grandmaster means that if I let the Grandmaster stay on the field, I will only get one Butler pop, and that will be from the Tribute. And if he draws into a Call by the Grave, my Butler pop is completely gone. So that's a good card to bounce. Next up is the Baron. Baron on standby phase can pull a level 9 or lower monster in the graveyard, put it on the field. Another good target because he can just put the Moye or the Taya on the field and then go into his combo without using up his normal summon. Go into Bajia, start bouncing my cards. The last target, the Dragite. Another good target because again, on my opponent's turn, he will have the quick effect of negating a spell or a trap. So on our opponent's turn, the only spell or trap we use is our Panda to go into our Butler. So he can use it to negate my Panda play, not allowing me to go into my Butler because he still has the Water Monster in the graveyard. But the card I chose to target was the Grandmaster, and I'll show you guys why. So let's get going with the gameplay. This is where all the mind games started to happen. I activate Pranks, recycle 3, that is all okay. Now I know my opponent will use the Dragite to negate my Panda play, which I am about to do. So watch what happens. Standby phase, he's gonna bounce his Baron, put his Taya on the field, not his Moye. If he puts the Moye on the field, he will lose the Water Monster in the graveyard. That way he cannot activate Dragite to negate my Panda play. Pretty smart from my opponent's side. So right here I activate Pandemonium. I lull him into a false sense of security. Again, this is all a mind game from my part. I'm not misplaying. I know he has the Dragite's effect. I'm trying to mind game him. Because off of the Pranks, I drew into a Nib. So we already know that this guy has a copy of the Longyan in his hand from the first turn where he used the SwordSoul Emergence to search for it. So he technically could have first activated the Longyan, put the Baron on the field again to probably play around Nibiru. That was a bad play from my opponent, but I am lulling this guy into a false sense of security because I cannot go into my Butler. I showed him I cannot go into my Butler now, but I still have my Nib in my hand. So with this right here, he starts going into his combo. And now I realize the way he's doing his combo, he will push past 5 specials before he even touches his Longyan to go into his Baron de Fleur combo. So my Nib is online. As long as this guy does not have a crossout designator in his hand, we are good to go. He even activates the Dragite's effect to bounce cards, which does not go through. And then there is the Longyan. Now I can Nibiru my opponent, and that is exactly what I'm doing. This guy did not play it safe. He played it greedy, went into his full combo, then went into the Longyan to go into Baron de Fleur, which allowed me to nib him, and it completely kills off my opponent afterwards. He just surrenders. He knows he misplayed big time and just surrenders. That's going to be the end of the game, guys. If you guys do like this kind of videos, please consider hitting the like button, subscribing to my channel for more daily prank and video uploads, and if you guys are interested in the live version of all of this, I do live stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/jpbduel. Link along with my schedule is going to be in the video description itself for you guys to check out. This is JPBDuel signing off for today. I'll see you all in the next video. Peace!